Okay. So recently we had the DNF Duel beta. From December 17th to December 20th. We're gonna give our general thoughts on the beta and just kind of like how I feel going, how I felt going into it, how I feel coming out of it, and kind of what I hope to see in the upcoming future for this game. So first of all, let's start with the pros. The game is super fun. This is the most fun I've had playing a fighting game in a very long time. I think the last time I had this much fun playing a fighting game was when I was just starting out playing Dead or Alive 6, and when I just started playing not Dungeon Fight, when I was just started playing Dragon Ball Fighters. So the game is super fun. It's very addicting. So it's pretty easy to get into. The game is not that complicated mechanically so far. I don't want to jinx it because we don't know how all the mechanics in the game work yet. But it's super easy to get into, and it is it's a simple execution game. There are one button specials, one button supers, one button DPs. Some people call it a good thing, some people call it a bad thing. That makes the game more of a mental based fighter instead of an execution based fighter, which is fine. Not every fighting game has to be execution based, and every fighting game has to be mental game based. There are some games that can be both, but not every game has to be both. Not every game has to be one or the other. But with that said, despite it being simple inputs, there's still room for flexibility and personality. We got to see a little bit of it with the beta, but I think once people get their hands on training mode and figure out how to use conversion cancels for either combos or for offense, I really think people could start making certain characters their own. Like see how like a Dragon Knight can do like what's the dragon called? Aerith. They can do like an Aerith call or whatever into the overhead flip sword move, conversion cancel, get like a high-low mix or whatever, something like that. So I still feel like there's a lot of room for personality and for expression. I know a lot of people these days were about expression with their fighting games. There's tons of cool characters. This is Dungeon Fighter Online, the MMO. So it has a slew of very cool characters they can put in. They all look cool, unique designs, unique gameplay. So I feel like there's going to be a character for everyone by the time that actually drops, because they are planning on adding even more characters. Looks like from the basis of the character select screen, they could add at least 6 more characters. So the Grappler is definitely a bullet. We're going to talk about the Grappler later. The meter system, I think the meter system is actually really interesting. I think it really conveys the source material really well. Because as we know, or some of you guys may not know actually, but DNF is it's originally a MMO RPG called DFO. At least in the States, it's called DFO, Dungeon Fighter Online. And since it's just a basic MMO, it does have a mana system, and they kind of put that in this game, which I actually really like. I think that was really cool. The way it works, like whenever you use a special, it drains out some of the meter, but at the same time, if you use the non-simple inputs, like if you do the actual motion, the mana regen starts a little bit faster. And on top of that, you have the conversion skill, which is actually something based off of the original MMO, because there are some characters who actually have a conversion skill. They can convert some of their health into mana, some of their mana into health, and they allow you to do that in this game. And on top of that, it can regen over time. So I think the meter system will definitely set it apart from other kind of like anime style fighters or just regular 1v1s, 2D Street Fighter style games. The game feels fluid. It doesn't feel stiff. If you guys know me, one of the reasons I wasn't really too big on Guilty Gear Strive was because the game felt too slow and it felt too stiff. I didn't really feel like I could move that well. The only time I really felt like I was moving in Guilty Gear Strive was when I was playing Melia. I don't want to play a certain character just so I can move around in the game. You know what I'm saying? And this game is not like that. Even when I'm playing the Grappler, the Crusader, I feel like I can still move around. So that's always great. The music and art style is top tier. It's using the current Arc System engine. So visually, the game is fantastic in terms of character models. In terms of visual effects, I feel like a lot of people are overlooking the visual effects on most recent Arc System games, like the explosions and the key blasts from Dragon Ball Fighters to the roaming cancels and shit like that, like the gun effects, the fire effects from Strive and from DNF. It all looks fantastic. Most importantly, the great netcode. It is rollback netcode and it works fantastic. I only had like 1 or 2 matches that were laggy, but they were still playable. I only had 1 match that was unplayable. I'm pretty sure the guy was from fucking Japan or something like that. But overall, all the matches were playable. You know, I had a couple matches that would where a guy was on Wi-Fi. It would roll back from like 2 frames to 10 frames, but overall it was solid. You know, it felt great. It felt great to play. And something I feel like it's actually relatively important is after a very harsh day 1 beta, they bounced back relatively successfully. Because if you guys remember, on day 1 of the beta, the game was unplayable. The servers were getting smoked. They did not expect that many people to join the servers at once, and they were getting absolutely blasted. And because of that, they had to take down the servers for a couple of hours as they try to fix them, add up new ones, increase the space for the current ones or whatever. And once they had that, honestly, it was relatively okay. They still had the lobby connection issues themselves, but people were actually able to play the game, which is, you know, the most important part. So they had a really rough start day 1, but they were able to bounce back relatively successfully. Now onto the cons. Most of the cons will come from the same area, which is the lobby system. The lobby system is absolutely atrocious. As with the recent Arc Systems beta with Guilty Gear Strive, their lobby system was also terrible. I don't know why ArcSys just can't do simple lobbies. Kind of even like the Dragon Ball lobbies aren't that bad. I don't know why they have trouble doing it for their other games, but they really need to get this shit fixed. Constant disconnects mid-matches. The lobbies were kind of busted. Like you could be playing someone for like 20 minutes and then randomly disconnect mid-match. Or you could play someone for 5 minutes. There would be a bunch of times where I just joined the match. We just got our characters picked. We're in the loading screen for the game. We got the intros for the characters, and then we get kicked out of the fucking lobby. So that really needs to be fixed. No dedicated region servers. This was a big one. I feel like this was also part of the reason why we had a lot of lobby disconnects, because a lot of people were connected to lobbies from across the world. You know, I really wish they had region locked servers. Nexon makes a lot of money, so I know Nexon can fucking do it. Nexon makes DFO, by the way, if you guys don't know. Not Nexon, Neopol. It used to be Nexon, but now it's Neopol. Neopol makes a lot of money from DFO, so I know they got the cash to make some dedicated servers for all the regions. But since they had no dedicated regions for this beta, you know, I could fight people from Japan, Korea, China, which on the surface is great, but at the same time, when these people enter your lobby, they could crash the entire lobby, and it just makes the whole experience less enjoyable. There were no private lobbies, so I couldn't just make a lobby and just set it to 1 person only besides on myself, so to 2 people, and just give someone a password so they can join. No invites, so even if I had someone added as a friend on PSN, I couldn't just straight up invite them to my lobby. And that kind of goes into this other kind of like this other con, was that there's no way you can just search for a lobby, if that makes any sense. Like you literally have to search for a lobby. Like I had to tell someone the rules I made for my lobbies, like 2 to 4 players, winner stays on, or winning side as they call it in the rules section, and they had to search for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even up to 20 minutes just searching to try to find my room. Because in that time, since there were no dedicated servers, they're running into people from EU, from Korea, from Japan, South America. So it really made the feeling of trying to find lobbies just to find games with your friends just really not enjoyable, if possible at all. No info on system. Actually, I'm gonna save that one for last. There was no training mode. Training mode would have been whatever for me personally. I don't really care if there's no training mode in the beta, but the reason I think it was more important this time around was because the servers were not working. If the servers were working on day one, then I would not care about the training mode that much. I would still care, but I wouldn't care that much because I was still able to play the game. But when we were not able to play the game, because they were fixing up all the servers, instead of giving us the training mode, they had us fight random CPUs. And we were on random select, so I couldn't pick my own character. They picked my character for me, and I had to fight bots. Which is like, I don't want to, like, I like the Hitman. The Hitman's cool, the Dragon Knight's cool, but I don't want to play those characters. I just want to play the Striker, and I want to play the goddamn Inquisitor. That's all I want to play. But I got the Striker a couple of times, never got to play the Inquisitor via RNG. So training mode would definitely been useful. And just as importantly, there was no offline mode. Because what if you just live with someone who also plays fighting games? Or what if you're just a casual? Like, you know, I kind of, like, I play DFO and I don't really play fighting games, but my roommate kind of plays fighting games. Maybe we can play together. There's no offline mode. If I went to play with my roommate Box, he would have to boot up his PS4. We had to try to find each other with a goddamn horrendous lobby system. So, like, yeah, they really need to do something about the lobbies, and they really need to add a training mode and add an offline mode for the next beta. Lack of information on system mechanics. Like, if you guys paid attention to the marketing, actually that can go under the overall kind of lack of marketing for the game, lack of marketing and information. If you guys remember, this game was announced a couple of months ago. They just gave us like a very short trailer, and then after that they went silent for months. Like, we didn't hear anything for like almost half a year, and then randomly we get a fucking trailer, like an official trailer number 2, right? And then after that we get nothing for like another month or so, and then suddenly we get the Striker gameplay trailer, then we get the Ranger game, we get all these character trailers like every 5 days. And then once they finish showing like the initial cast, they say, oh, by the way, we got another set of characters, and we're having an open beta in like less than a week. So they told us about the open beta less than a week before it actually fucking happened. And then the day before the beta, they showcased how the health system worked, how the mana system worked, and how the conversion system worked. And that was it. They gave us those 3 things and said, go play the fucking game. Yeah, like, everyone got an HP trailer. Yo, everyone has fucking health. It's like, okay. Like, yeah, they gave us no information, no marketing. They didn't give us shit. So I feel like if they told us about conversions a while ago, maybe people could have brainstormed a lot earlier. Tell us how the combo system worked earlier. Tell us about super. Tell us the difference between using the simple inputs or the motion inputs, because someone had to figure it out just by playing the game that if you do the motion input, your mana regeneration starts faster, you know. So I wish they told us that so we can know how things actually work in this game. And with that said, I can't really speak too much on if the offense of the game is too overpowering or the defense of the game is too lacking, because I do feel like offense in the game is relatively strong, despite the game having 1-button DPs and a guard cancel. The 1-button DPs are nice, but the guard cancels are kind of ass. But I don't want to speak too much on it because no one has had a chance to actually lab stuff out. Like, I hate the Berserker. Oh, we're gonna get to the fucking Berserker later. But I hate the Berserker right now. But when I have time to actually lab against the character, maybe I can find something that has an answer to his seemingly endless pressure. Like, maybe there's an actual gap somewhere, or maybe I can find something that guard cancels in the right spot. You know, so I don't want to speak too much on the overall offense and defense, but I will say everyone does solid damage. It's kind of like Melty Blood in that way, where like everyone will do about 30% with their basic B&B. So 3 to 4 touches is going to be like the norm for most characters if you do like a regular optimized combo using your meter. And you get meter back pretty quickly. The only time you don't get meter back quickly is when you are exhausted. But other than that, just doing a combo, you pretty much build meter as you use it. So it's not that much of an issue. Moving on into characters, we're going to talk about the individual how I feel about the individual characters, what I think some of them need, or just what they shouldn't need for that matter. So first we got the Striker. The Striker has hit confirms for days. She's relatively short range. She has a couple of YOLO moves, but I think she needs help in neutral in general, especially with the Grappler as well. The Grappler is like a slightly different case, but the Striker is a hand-to-hand fighter in a game full of weapons-based fighters. Everyone in this game has a weapon except for the Striker and the Grappler. Everyone else has either a sword, an axe, or a polearm, or even a fucking knife. So I think the Striker used a little bit of help getting in. Her 6S is the forward dashing punch. It's definitely a YOLO move, but it's kind of like Beerus to M for all my Dragon Ball players out there. It doesn't become active until she's near you, so it can be stuffed pretty easily. So I think she should get a little bit of help of getting inside. But with that said, her die kick is actually kind of insane. Her die kick is pretty fast, and it's plus on block no matter where it hits. And if she hits you high enough, so like for Oki, it can safe jump. And if you end up blocking it, you have to guess between 1, 2, or 3 overheads. So her offense is kind of nutty, but her neutral could use a little bit of help. But if they want to buff her offense even more while leaving her neutral kind of subpar, I think that would be perfectly fine. The Grappler, we all know the Grappler has the fucking infinite, which is probably going to get shot, which it should. I don't think infinite should be in a game like this. But overall, the Grappler's a fucking bully. His command grabs have armor, and they go through other grabs. So if you try to tick throw the Grappler, or you think he's going to tick throw you, and you try to mash grab, his command grab will go through your grab, even if he charges it. He has a grab for every scenario, which to be honest, as a Grappler should. He has ground to ground, air to ground, ground to air, and air to air grabs, and they're all extremely busted. They all do a lot of damage. But with that said, he does struggle in neutral, as he should. He's a Grappler. But he does have Mountain Pusher. Mountain Pusher goes through pretty much every button, has tons of armor on it, and it's not that punishable because it pushes him so far away. One thing that does feel weird about him is that, yes, he's really slow, but at the same time, all of his buttons have mad block stun, so it's kind of hard to get a feel for his frame data. Like, he does like a little like a side kick, like a donkey kick, and it feels like it has like 40 frames of block stun. Because he's sitting there recovering for all 40 frames, but you can't move for like 40 frames. It just feels really weird. But yeah, just get rid of the infinite, and I think the Grappler will be fine. Honestly, just get rid of that. Just get rid of the infinite and just leave the Grappler be. The Ranger, I didn't get to see too much of the Ranger. Not many people were playing him, and all the people who did play him sucked. That's going to be a running theme for some of these characters. At first, I thought the Grappler didn't do a lot of damage. I was wrong. He does about the same amount of damage as everybody else. Just that not many people knew how to play the fucking character. He can zone relatively well. His 5B will hit you jumping. His 2B hits low, and both gunshots hit full screen. Super stylish combos. He has pretty decent chip damage because he can keep doing his mana specials, his MP moves. He can do them up to 3 times, which causes a lot of chip damage. So I think the Ranger overall is in a fairly okay spot. I just wanted to see more of him so I can give like an actual review if he needs help or not. The Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight's also going to go in that category of I fought a lot of Dragon Knights, but none of them were good. None of them knew how to actually use the character. But with that said, I think the Dragon Knight has a lot of potential because she has the dragon and she has the flight mix. Because if you don't know, she can, whenever she jumps, she can cancel into flight and she can air dash out of that flight. So she can get a potential high-low mix. I think she can do a lot of damage. Her mix-up potential can be really high. Because especially this game does have a guard button. I wish it didn't have a guard button, because a lot of the mix-ups in this game are left-right, but guard buttons eliminate left-right mix, so you kind of have to go for high-low or force them to interact with you with the guard crush mechanics. But I think Dragon Knight has ways of getting around that. So I think the Dragon Knight has the potential to be really, really strong. You know, I just want to see more people play and see, you know, if only we had a lab, we could see what the Dragon Knight can actually do. The Hitman seems okay. I didn't see anyone doing anything too crazy with him. He seems like a pretty straightforward character. He has very, very strong mid-range control with his Odachi sword. Everything hits multiple times, so you can't really run at him and try to whiff punish, because you try to whiff punish, he'll do that final strike and you'll just get caught and you'll probably get hit into a full combo. But I didn't get to see too much of him, so I'm just gonna call him whatever for now. The Berserker, oh god, the Berserker is the walking war crime of a fucking character. I don't think I ever fought a more annoying character in my life. He has seemingly endless pressure. His 5B goes almost half screen and is faster than most other 5Bs, and it has almost no recovery, and it's incredibly active. I'm getting shades of Android 16's JL, but on the ground, and reaches mad far. You didn't fight a good Berserker, and you should have fought fucking Vimir. So like, you could round start tech roll and try to beat the round start 5B, but the 5B is so active. Once you finish the tech roll, you'll get hit anyway by the 5B because it's still active. So, but it's kind of heinous. Frenzy, activating Frenzy is extremely busted. It's just straight up not fair. The startup for it is really fast, and the recovery is almost non-existent. So he can do whatever he wants. He can like 5B, 2B into the Ghost Strike, the standing, what's it? Yeah, standing P. That'll push you far enough where he can cancel into Frenzy Charge. So now he's in Frenzy mode, and then you can't do anything to stop him because he outranges you at that point. If you try to press a button, he's just gonna hit 5B, and then you get counter hit, and then you just fucking die. Or he can activate Frenzy and then cancel into a Bloody Twister and then suck you in for a full combo into Gorecross Oki. And speaking of Bloody Twister, I feel like is too big. That button can stop you from jumping from 3/4 of the screen away. And he gets a full combo for it too. And on top of that, nearly all of his buttons hit jump height. So you can't jump at him from any point in the screen. You just have to hold that. Gorecross Oki beats everything. I want this to be taken. Actually, I feel like fuck it. Let him have it. Actually, let him keep Gorecross Oki. Because if you guys don't know, he can enter combo with his Ghost Slash with his standing P. He can cancel that into Gorecross. And with that, you can't DP, you can't super, you can't tech roll. You just have to block it. The only thing you can do is do a delayed DP and pray that he fucked up the Gorecross Oki. So I think, and on top of that, he does a lot of damage. He will 2 or 3 touch you easily. So I think the Berserker is kind of bananas right now. I think he should keep his Gorecross Oki, but I think they should do something about his 5B and do something about his Frenzy Charge. Oh, I forgot. He uses Conversion extremely well, because when he activates Frenzy, it drains away his health over time, which gives him white life. And he can cancel into Bloody Twister, which will pull you in, which he can then cancel the recovery of that with the Conversion, and then put you into a fucking mix. So he's kind of bananas. I think they should do something about his 5B, make his Frenzy Charge punishable, or give it less recovery so he can't just do it whenever. And I think if you take care of that, he'll be okay. The Inquisitor, good old Jesus take the wheel. She does, as you guys know, this was my main character. This was the character I had the most fun playing. She does solid damage. She's kind of built around the Wheel of Fortune, the burning wheel. Her B&B does about 35% damage, and it gives her enough meter to end the combo with a burning wheel for Oki that they have to block. They can't do anything about it. Very similar to the Gorecross Oki, which is why I think the Gorecross Oki should stay, because the Inquisitor can do the same thing with the burning wheel. She does tons of chip damage slash white life. So she can really play the mind game of forcing you to do something. Because if you don't, you're gonna get guard crushed, and then you take a full combo, and then you go right back into burning wheel Oki. I do think her buttons are a bit lackluster. Her 5B is an overhead strike, but it's really slow. It's not really useful for anything, and it doesn't go that far. Her 2P is huge. Her anti-air is ginormous, but it's insanely slow. To the point where, like, if I try to react to someone doing a jump in, I can't, because the 2P would get counter hit. So I feel like her buttons could be a little bit faster, or keep them slow, but just give them a bit more range. Like, there's no reason a character who has a fucking axe that's taller than she is gets outranged by the fucking Berserker. You know what I'm saying? Or she gets outranged by the Kunoichi, actually. Like, Kunoichi's 5B, her kunai swipe goes further than some of the Inquisitor's buttons. And I think they should buff her oil. Her oil toss, I feel like should go further, so she can do a full block string into oil toss, make you block it, and then she can do something else. Because right now, if you do most block strings into oil, they can jump out of it and possibly punish. So I think they should buff the oil. Just make it go a little bit further, or make it hit twice. Excuse me. Or do the same thing with their fire. Make the fire hit 4 times instead of 3 times. But overall, I think she's really strong. But I think her buttons could be a little bit better. Crusader. I only fought 1 or 2 Crusaders, and they both were garbage. He has extremely long range, tons of damage. He has a pseudo infinite that does like 80%. The character is kind of mean. He's kind of bananas right now, but I don't think he's as strong as everyone is making him. It's just because he has big buttons and he does a shit ton of damage. But a lot of the stuff he does is incredibly unsafe. So I don't think the Crusader is that insane, but I do think he's healthy strong. I think he's okay the way he is right now, but I want to see more of him. Kunoichi. The Kunoichi is like a faster Inquisitor. She's very annoying to fight. She has very solid damage, solid mix-ups. Her Flame Tornado is very similar to the Burning Wheel, but it's taller and it goes full screen because it moves forward. She could do some interesting stuff with the toe. She can summon the toe, probably get some sort of fire toad Oki. On top of that, if you get hit by a fire move, something else she can do is she can build her pressure in the way of waiting for the delay explosion to happen. Like if you're leaving an intelligent plays a gap in the blockchain, so like if you try to mash, you get caught up by the explosion and you die. So I think the Kunoichi is very, very strong. Last but not least, we have the Vanguard. I only fought 2 of them and they both fucking sucked. But with that, the Vanguard has very strong mid-range. He has Rekkas on like half of his moves. His damage is solid. He doesn't have much in the mix-up game, but that's not the point of him. The point of it is to keep you at bay and to just keep you chipping you out with these long ass buttons. On top of that, his chip actually gets better when he's low on health. Because his passive when he gets low on health is that his chip damage and his guard break meter depletes faster. No, your guard break meter depletes faster when he hits you with some of his normals. But didn't really get to fight too many Vanguards. He wasn't a super popular character, but maybe they might show him a little bit of love so people will play him in the next beta if they have a next beta. Someone asked how I feel about lack. I think the game should have air block. The way the game is now, I think the game definitely needs air blocking. The way it is now, because there's too many characters with these big ass normals that you can't do anything about unless you jump at them. But since the way the game is right now, it's kind of a party game. Like no matter what happens, you can get clicked by something random, and since there's no air blocking, you just die. Because it's very easy to convert off of those random air hits too. So I think the way the game is now, the game should definitely have some air blocking in it. So But yeah, I think the game is super duper fun. I'm looking forward to the second beta, if there is a second beta, and I definitely can't wait to play the game when it drops in summer 2022. So those are all of my thoughts about the game. Whenever there is a second beta, I will definitely be sure to stream it. And yeah, that's it. I'm a cash home motherfuckers on the flip side. A peace.